Schneider's Bakery episodes are like Newton's third law. For every episode, there is an equal and opposite episode. Meaning, every time there's an episode that brings up a concept and does it poorly, there's another episode somewhere out there in the Schneiderverse that does the same concept way better. Hey guys, Pie Guy Rules here, and welcome back to the Bizarro Bakery. The 8th episode of The Bottom of the Bakery covered hashtag blooper episode, Sam and Kat's disastrous blooper episode. So naturally, the obvious choice for me to go with for the Bizarro is iCarly's iBloop. So hashtag blooper episode was a pineapple upside dog cake with other parts thrown on for good measure, so then naturally, iBloop would be a combination of Bizarro Bakery number 2 and Bizarro Bakery number 4. So the popcorn muffin and the coffee cake fused to become caramel-covered popcorn cake. That sounds really good, and I'm not even a big caramel person. Wait just one darn second. I was about to release this video with this massive, glaring blooper in it. I was literally just about to step away from my computer with the video scheduled to go up tomorrow when it finally hit me that this is not right. Movie Job was not the second Bizarro Bakery. It was, of course, Little Diva, which means it would not be this popcorn caramel cake thing. In fact, it would be a coffee cake. And I apologize that it doesn't look great, but to be honest, I really need to get this video out, so I did the best that I could, alright? The irony of me almost making that catastrophic mistake in this video is not lost on me. So with that out of the way, I will now continue my discussion of the actual episodes. So right off the bat, the very first comparison is the fact that iBloop was the first time that Schneider's Bakery had done this idea, and in fact it is a pretty fresh idea for television. At least it's a somewhat new take on a clip show, whereas hashtag blooper episode was the 4th time. iCarly had 2 blooper episodes, Victorious had 1, and Sam and Cat also had 1. By the time hashtag blooper episode got around to it, the idea is no longer fresh, and you have to actually, I don't know, maybe make sure it's better than the first 3 times you've done this. I guess Sam and Cat gets off a little easier because technically iCarly and Victorious are separate shows, but they were both shows that spun off into Sam and Cat, and it's very easy to look at the Schneider's Bakery shows as if they were just one giant show that has been going on way too long and occasionally changes up the gimmick and cast. All that to just say that iBloop gets points for originality, hashtag blooper episode does not. So, like hashtag blooper episode, iBloop is split up into 2 sections. There is the wraparound segments, which are a very loose story that introduces all these clips, and there's the actual clip montages themselves. If you recall, hashtag blooper episode had a really cringy and boring and obnoxiously self-congratulatory wraparound segments, where the cast was sitting at a restaurant and a bunch of people keep coming up to them saying, "Oh my gosh, are you the people from Sam and Cat? I've always had this question about this show of yours that I love so much." Including their waiter, who continues to postpone taking their order, so they never get to eat. iBloop's wraparound segments are about a fictionalized Miranda Cosgrove that is somewhat like Carly, berating a fictionalized Jerry Trainer, who is somewhat like Spencer, for messing up all the time on set. But Jerry Trainer points out that everyone messes up on set, and it's really not that big a deal. If you look at it like a story, it's also kind of lame in that basically Miranda goes from saying, "Oh man, people messing up on set are the worst," to, "Yeah, you know, I guess it's okay to mess up on set," just because Jerry shows her a bunch of clips of her messing up on set. It's honestly kind of a stupid position to take. I mean, mistakes are gonna happen no matter what. I like iBloop's wraparounds much more than hashtag blooper episodes because there is none of that cringy waiter waiting on them, "OMG, I'm an actor too, hire me, hire me, hire me," or any of that, "OMG, Sam and Cat is the best show ever" stuff. None of that happens here, and it's just basically a conversation between 2 of these actors that are kind of sort of acting like their characters. But now onto the clips themselves. iBloop's clips are actually funny. Not every clip is funny, and not every sequence is really funny, but it made me laugh several times, which is a lot more than hashtag blooper episode made me laugh. Simply put, there is better bloopers in iBloop than hashtag blooper episode. Of course, comedy is subjective, but the reason why iBloop works a lot better than hashtag blooper episode is because, first of all, iCarly had 64 episodes before this one, meaning there was a lot more material to pull from to find these funny bloopers. Meanwhile, #blooper episode is the 27th Salmon Cat episode to make it to air and the 28th episode produced. And might I add that Salmon Cat's blooper episode was almost certainly planned way ahead of time because they were trying to make their 40 episodes in one season. If you want to fulfill that order, you gotta take shortcuts somewhere. And a blooper episode where all you have to do is get the main cast to sit around a table and then edit together some clips later on was definitely one of those cost-saving measures that they probably planned way early on. Meaning, before they knew they had good bloopers. Now, iBloop may have also come out of similar restraints and order number of episodes because Nickelodeon wanted a lot from iCarly in its earlier seasons, but at that point they had had a few dozen episodes on the air, so they could be certain they had at least some funny bloopers when they planned the episode. And because they were trying to make so many episodes in such a short amount of time on Salmon Cat, naturally they probably had a lot more stressful of a set where they were constantly trying to rush things. What I like about iBloop's bloopers is that a lot of them have time to play out. After an actor says a flubbed line, the actor might say some sort of joke about the silly line that they just flubbed, or another actor might take it and run with it and continue on in some sort of joke and trying to continue the scene. It's these things that really make the bloopers fun. If you notice, a lot of #blooper episodes clips end very abruptly, and a lot of them end with, "Alright, back to one," being said really quickly. What this tells me is that whenever the actors made mistakes, the director wanted them to immediately get back to their starting positions and redo the scene again because gosh dang it, they don't have a lot of time. And while that's great for being efficient, it's not so great for the clips you decide to use in your blooper episode. And the whole back half of #blooper episode is just filled with clips that are actually from the show and montages of just kind of nothing, like characters yawning or doing little dances or really mundane stuff that should not be in an episode of a TV show. Whereas iBloop never resorts to that level of laziness. They do have some clip show aspects, but only a little bit of that, in that they have a clip package of Spencer's stunts, other characters' stunts, and the random dancing. However, the random dancing actually flows pretty well, doing a big montage of a bunch of the dance scenes in the show, and the stunts they actually did on iCarly are a lot more plentiful and more impressive than they were on Salmon Cat, which, again, is probably due to the fact that there's just more iCarly episodes at this point than there was Salmon Cat episodes when they did their blooper episode. And, in my opinion, the funniest clip package in iBloop is the stuff going wrong clip package. Because of the nature of iCarly, there were a lot of technical things that they had to do on the show. Things like having the TV come out from the wall and wheeling around all of Freddy's equipment and other such mechanical things that could often go wrong and apparently did. It's really funny seeing the piece of cardboard they use as a monitor for the iCarly TV in the studio fall off and lightly fall to the ground. #blooper episode did something similar where they had these technical problems, but they are not nearly as impressive or interesting. You get to see Jeanette McCurdy fail to hit a tennis ball with a racket, which is not quite as funny. So there you go. iBloop doesn't have any cringy wraparound segments, and the wraparounds themselves are kept to a minimum, has funnier clips for the various reasons that I mentioned, and doesn't have that many elements of just doing a straight-up clip show. All that, plus the fact that it was the first to do this, at least of the Schneider's Bakery shows, make it so much better than Salmon Cat's blooper episode. And trust me, #blooper episode is one of the worst Schneider's Bakery episodes I've seen thus far. It is so lazy and uninteresting, and all the while the characters are talking about how great their own show is. I'm not gonna say iBloop was amazing or anything, I could live without a whole episode about bloopers, but it made me laugh. It made me laugh quite a bit, actually. And I wasn't really that bored like I was with #blooper episode. Oh, and by the way, #blooper episode may have had bloopers from Drake and Josh that weren't very funny, but iBloop actually has a part where Drake Bell shows up on set and acts as if Miranda Cosgrove is her character from Drake and Josh. It's pretty neat. Oh, and thanks to lovely commenters, I know that the random kid that appeared at the beginning of #blooper episode is Sinjin from Victorious. Just thought I'd let you all know that I'm aware of this now. I wonder what I'm gonna do a Victorious theme bottom of the bakery. Never! Oh, and speaking of Sinjin and #blooper episode being lazy, it ends in the exact same way as iBloop. They both end with a giant dance party. It's just so lazy. And just further proof that Schneider's Bakery has just run out of ideas. Bye, Guy Rules, out.